advocate for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on PlusTvAfrica.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
How can we have peace without justice?
Plus Politics. It's not just another political conversation, it's about keeping you in the know. Relevant interviews, asking the tough questions to those that matter. Get the answers you need. Does it mean that the people who were injured, people who were shot at, those who were involved in that stampede are not going to get justice?
It is unfortunate, it is sad that we have a government of deaf and dumb.
Analysis from top experts.
The last election was not really an election.
We feel that Obasanjo has a very special place in his heart for hating Ijaw people.
I think it really boils down to two things. One, trust and accountability.
Plus Politics, every weeknight at 7 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect them. If you no talk, then go beat you. Now 2,500 they pay.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. Like, no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event
on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the Barbarian, I pay my rent.
After dumping the People's Democratic Party, former Kano State Governor Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso is named the national leader of the new Nigeria People's Party. And as the leading parties in the country jostle for their political future with conventions and issues of zoning, how do we ensure that the right candidates are picked to bear the flag of these parties? This is Plus Politics, and I'm Kofi Bartels. As you may already have noticed, political maneuvering is heating up to replace President Buhari as leader of Africa's most populous nation, but the race remains open with several heavyweights in the running. The All Progressives Congress, APC party leaders and delegates have selected a new chairman, and other positions have been filled in the final stage before the primaries later this year for a presidential candidate for that party. There are also talks about zoning, which gets heated up, or which has heated up the People's Democratic Party. And the focus now should be about picking the right candidates ahead of the party primaries and the election. Now, do Nigerians go about this? Well, joining us to discuss this issue, we have the National Auditor of the Campaign for Democracy and convener of the Yoruba Stakeholders Summit Group, Olufemi Lawson. Good evening to you. Thank you very much for your time. All right, sir. What are your thoughts on the entire situation as far as politicking is concerned? Of course, all the parties are neck deep in their maneuverings, and of course the horse trading and the lobbying, for the positions in the parties ahead of the 2023 elections. What are your thoughts? It's getting pretty heated up in the Nigerian polity.
Fine, and I think what we're experiencing is very much in line with the decision of the INEC to roll out its timetable, in line with the newly amended electoral law. You must understand that now the conduct and activities of the political parties towards 2023 election has now become guided by the INEC timetable. So all political parties are now working towards ensuring that they meet every deadline as stipulated by INEC. And that is why you could see these political activities, parties conducting their, conventions, electing national officers. And in the next couple of weeks, we'll be witnessing the election of candidates, especially by the major political parties that are participating in the presidential election. They'll be electing their flag bearers for the 2023 general election. So the political parties are beginning to sell nomination forms. And I think everything is guided by law, because now we have an electoral act that has created a time frame for which political activities must be conducted. And that's what we're witnessing.
How would you describe the forthcoming, 2023 elections? How important is it to Nigeria? Some have said this is the most important election in the history of this country. Do you agree with that? And what are your thoughts on the importance of the 2023 general elections to Nigeria?
Very important, and we must understand there's going to be another major transition period, especially when you look at the need to elect a new president. We have a situation whereby the incumbent president who will be leaving in 2023 is not recontesting this election. So it's going to be a major transition period, unlike when we have the incumbent run, to return. into office. So it's a major transition period, and it's coming at a time that the country is in a desperate need for leadership, whether we like it or not. Whoever succeeds President Muhammadu Buhari will be coming to play a very fundamental role of, either consolidating on what President Muhammadu Buhari has been able to do in 8 years, or, of course, charting a course that will drive the nation forward from where President Buhari will be leaving it. It's a very important election year for Nigerians, especially when you look at the current realities, when you look at the current situation in the country, you realize that this is not going to be just another election for us as a people.
Olufemi Lawson, we're talking about picking the right candidate. But before you even get to do the picking, you have to know what constitutes the right candidate. In your opinion, as far as the presidential elections go, and the general elections, what do we mean by the right candidate? Who is the right candidate? Are we talking about gender? Are we talking about, ethnicity? Are we talking about geographical origin? Who is the right candidate? What should people know as the description for the right candidate?
2023, it is not going to be acceptable to assume that it's going to be an election as usual. Like I raised, it's a very important transition year. And a lot of factors must be considered. And for us in the Yoruba Stakeholder Summit Group, one of the fundamental factors that we think the major political parties contesting this election must consider is where the next president of Nigeria is coming from. The president that is there who will be leaving by 2023 has come from a region of the country which is the north, and at a time where the polity is so heated, where the polity requires serious, effort at unifying the country, we must be sensitive to the fact that the southern Nigeria must produce the next president of the country. This has been one of the advocacies that we have consistently, embarked upon. The political parties must be considerate, not only in terms of the competence of the character they might emerge as a candidate, but also the need to entrench, national unity and peace that the country is currently yearning for. And this can only be achieved if the principles of equity, fairness is brought into play in the choice of political party candidates for the 2023 election, especially by the major political parties of PDP and APC, who are likely going to produce the next president of the country.
All right. So you are sure that the People's Democratic Party or the All Progressives Congress will produce the next president? It's not going to come from any party outside these two. What makes you so convinced?
Not an absolute opinion, but I think it's a realistic opinion. The truth is that these are the dominant political parties in our democracy. These are the political parties that control majority of the states, in the country. So it will be, it may sound like an illusion if you think that the election that is just about 8 months away or 9 months can be won by a political party that does not have, structures in any of the 36 states of the country, except the least unexpected happen. The next president of Nigeria will likely be produced by either of the two major political parties. And it is not only peculiar to Nigeria. This is the trend as far as other advanced democracies, are concerned.
Interesting, very interesting. Looking at the politics of the past 24 years since Nigeria made its return to democracy in 1999, of course, the PDP, the People's Democratic Party, had been in power for 16 years, and the All Progressives Congress has been in power for 7 years, so that's 23 years. They'll be completing the 24th year, or the 8th year rather, next year. You've said that Nigerians, you don't foresee realistically any other party apart from these two producing the next president. Are you confident that the right candidate, in your estimation, can come from any of these two, looking at what's been going on amongst them?
Of course, every political party have competent and have credible people. And if you recall, it's one of the, basis upon which President Muhammadu Buhari was elected in 2015. It was a campaign of integrity, of change, of renewal to bring somebody who can actually, drive the process on the basis of his integrity and competence is concerned. And if you look at the PDP have also produced credible individuals, not only as president, but as governors, as ministers in the past. If you look at other smaller political parties that have also been opportune to govern smaller states, or some states in the country, so every political party has a tendency to produce credible candidates for the election. But I think the All Progressives Congress, the APC, which is the governing party, should be interested in who succeeds President Muhammadu Buhari. It is important that the process is guided not only in the interest of the party, but also for the sake of our democracy. Because whatever becomes the outcome of this transition will be given to the party as a credit or otherwise. Today, everyone celebrates former President Goodluck Jonathan because of that heroic step he took by handing over power to President Buhari in 2015 in a situation that was never expected from the average political leader in Africa. So 2023 is also going to be another opportunity for the governing party to prove that it is transparent and it is willing to entrench our democracy by ensuring that the process is smooth, is fair and free. And this will start from within even the APC itself before we get to the general election.
Okay, you seem fixated on the PDP and the APC, especially the All Progressives Congress. We're talking about picking the right candidates ahead of the 2023 elections, and I suspect you have a soft spot for the All Progressives Congress. So I will come to that in a minute. But you're saying that you've given us your definition of who or what the right candidate is, and you've said that you feel that the presidential election will not be won outside these two parties. But should Nigerians be looking outside these two parties? Femi Lawson, the situation in Nigeria in the past 23 years, since 1999. Are you happy with the state of affairs and the way the country has been governed in the past 23 years? I just want to give me a honest-to-God answer.
So, fairly, the country has not really fared well since 1999 and we returned to democracy. But it's a journey. And I think we are still, growing this democracy. But in fairness,
is this still a democratic experiment, Femi Lawson? Is this still an experiment? Because lives are being lost. Are we experimenting with lives? Don't we have the capacity, to do the things right now? You are saying it's a journey. Femi Lawson, are you there, please? All right, we seem to be having a bit of a network glitch with the gentleman. We'll try and get back to him. But
even in advanced democracies, there's no democracy that has gotten to the ultimate destination yet. Democracy keeps evolving, from time to time, and our own cannot be an exception. We cannot claim to have a perfect, system in just 24 years. But I want to believe that we have made some progress, and we'll keep demanding us performances and delivery as far as the dividends of democracy is concerned. We are not yet there. No government can even be given the average of marks in the area of performance since 1999. But the truth is that where we are now is not where we were in 1999. We must have been.
Are we, Femi Lawson, where we are now is not where we were in 1999. Are we better off or worse off?
We have made some progress. It's inevitable, and that is not in doubt. And there have been a lot of setback also, considering how stable the policy was between 1999, particularly between 1999 and 2007. And that is why we can no longer leave the business of democracy in the hands of politicians. We cannot continue to wait for one government to come and turn the situation around. To get to that destination, it requires the effort of all Nigerians But for as long as we begin to think a Messiah will come as president or somebody is coming with an extraordinary power to come and transform society, nothing good or nothing new will happen. Getting the kind of society we want would only be achievable by us as Nigerians coming together to push the system forward.
Okay. All right. So you've talked about getting the right candidate. And you said that the right candidate is someone who comes from the South. Is that the only thing? Is that what Nigerians should be looking at when thinking of who should we elect as president? Should it not be about more than someone who comes from the South? Are there not other things to look at?
Well, every other factor should be considered because there's no part of this country that does not have, like I used to say, a competent and a brilliant mind or someone who can govern this country. But we must be interested in the fact that you will only come and demonstrate your competence, your brilliance, if we have a stable society. One of the things required for Nigeria to stabilize at the moment is the question of equity and fairness in the distribution of political power. And if we don't elect a country that can stabilize, a president that can stabilize Nigeria in 2023, and where the president that will stabilize Nigeria is coming from is very fundamental. You cannot go and bring another president from the region that has governed the country for 8 years in this kind of situation. No matter how brilliant or how exceptional, how competent he is, we may have an unstable country, and we don't want that. So the political parties must be conscious of that fact, and the next presidential candidate.
But Femi Johnson, you're talking about stability. Femi Lawson, sorry, you're talking about stability, and we understand that. But of course, after we looked at north-south balance in the country, and the feeling, the mood from the two leading political parties, the APC and the PDP. Then, well, last election was that we should allow the North, produce the next president. That has happened, and is Nigeria more stable than it was, or less stable than it was? Because you're talking about the fact that if the next president comes from the South, that will be the right candidate just for stability in the country. So, of course, after several years of having Southern leadership in the country, we had a Northern leadership. Is the country more stable than it was, or less stable?
The truth is that the current situation today can never in any way be compared to what we had in 2014, 2015. They are incomparable. There was no situation like we have on our hand here in 2014, 2015. The country, as we speak, is, visibly, divided. The tension is so glaring, the fault lines have become so obvious that it has never been, even before 2015. The need for political stability and the question of equity and fairness, as of today, cannot be compared to any time before now. There has never been any time that we have the level of agitation that we have today in this country on the basis of the need for equity and fairness that we're having today. So I don't think it is comparable to what we had in 2015. In fact, only a very minute group of people were behind the agitation for another president in 2015. But today, even political actors within the major political parties are, united in the belief that the next president of Nigeria should come from the side. That's the position of the southern governor.
No, but Mr. Lawson, you're aware that even in the People's Democratic Party, there are leading contenders who are saying that we shouldn't have a north-south divide. Every part of the country should be allowed to produce its representative, or to produce an aspirant, the potential president in the two leading parties. The debate is still on. Even the northern group, yesterday we had them on this program, they were saying that there should be no zoning to the south.
It sits within the right of people to aspire and contest from wherever they decide to contest from. But for those of us demanding that the next president of Nigeria must come from the south, we are only being conscious of the prevailing situation in the country. And I can tell you that major political actors within this party are conscious of this. And if you look at it critically, you see that the All Progressives Congress is already on the path of actualizing that demand. By switching virtually all the positions held in the North in the last 8 years back to the south, preparing most likely his next presidential candidate to come from the south, even though the PDP has not been able to demonstrate that. But I also want to remind you that major actors within the PDP, including very influential governors within the PDP, have also taken a stand on the need for the presidency of the country to be zoned to the south.
All right,
So
Femi Lawson, so South. South is divided into 3 geopolitical zones. So which of the geopolitical zones are you referring to? Southeast, South-South, or Southwest?
In all fairness, I don't think we should be talking about.
Okay. All right.
Southwest, every time given to the south, it has always been the southwest. We had the president for 8 years. We have had the vice president now going for 8 years. We produced the speaker of the House of Representatives for 3 years. I don't think it is fair to begin to look at the southwest again as for the next president of Nigeria. Okay. The Southeast has never produced the president of Nigeria. Even the tenure of the South, where President Jonathan came, was short-lived.
Okay. All right.
So we should be looking at this other region, but not the Southwest.
All right. Olufemi Lawson, thank you very much for your time and for joining us. Olufemi Lawson is National Auditor of the Campaign for Democracy and the convener of the Yoruba Stakeholders Summit Group. Thank you for your time.
My pleasure.
And thanks for staying with us. Up next, we'll have a break, and when we return, we speak with former Kano State Governor Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso.
The call by the Southeast, or the entire South, as it were, is not misplaced. But if you are to compute the number of years that the North has held power from 1999 to this period that we are, 2022, you will discover that the South has held power even more, much as we are not looking at things from that perspective. Olusegun Obasanjo, that I told you in the beginning, had 8 years from 1999 to 2007. He was succeeded by President Yaradua, who was short-lived. After about 2 years to 3 years, we lost President Yaradua, and Goodluck Jonathan, another Southerner, continued until about 2015. Now, if you put this together, you will discover that the South has held on to power for an 11 or more years in the 15 years of the PDP.
What we have in this country is a campaign of deceit. People say what you cannot do. You can't give what you don't have. My dear, you can't give what you don't have. In the first place, let me say this to you, that as the campaign comes up, all you're going to hear different slogan. I will build road, I will do this, I will. Now, how will Nigeria trust you? And how will they trust them? It takes track record, what you've never done in the past.
Former Kano State Governor Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso was yesterday named the national leader of the new Nigeria People's Party. Kwankwaso was adopted at the party's convention in Abuja a day after he announced his exit from the People's Democratic Party. Now, here to talk about the reasons for this defection and other issues concerning the 2023 elections, we're happy to say we have the man himself, former Kano State Governor Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. Governor Kwankwaso, thanks for your time and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
You've been a mainstay of the People's Democratic Party, not just in Kano State, but in the country. What informed your decision to leave the party for another party?
Thank you very much. As we all know, that PDP ab initio was formed to ensure that the military was kicked out in 1998. And we were part of that formation. In 1999, immediately after the formation, I became the governor, elected governor of Kano State under that platform. And of course, in 2003, I became the Minister of Defense. I was in the NDDC representing Northwest, all under the platform of PDP. But you see, as time went on, we realized that there were people in terms of ideology that we would find very difficult to work together with. While we are on one way working hard to ensure peace and stability of the democracy itself, when we are working very hard on the issue of economy, when we are working very hard in terms of education, agriculture, and other sectors, many of them did not understand. Many of them were struggling by all means to put their own sons and daughters and their relationships in positions, even when those people were not competent to be there. So we, of course, had some issues and issues of ideology, which we find very difficult to reconcile. And we had to take the opportunity of the formation of APC in 2014. And we joined the APC, believing that people of like minds, in fact, we were calling ourselves progressives at that particular time. But immediately after election, differences started occurring. And we felt that was not the best place. And came back to PDP again, believing that being in government and, of course, in opposition, the party would have learned its own lesson in the country. But unfortunately, we realized that they were even worse than we left them. And that was why my humble self and many other leaders decided to come together to form a real progressive party that will be, by the grace of God, capable not only to win election, but capable enough to run very effective government, I believe, to the satisfaction of the vast majority of this country. A party that is not leaning towards any region or religion or ethnicity. Government that will come and give every Nigerian equal opportunity to realize his or her own potential. And that was based really on what we have seen in the past in this country. That is based on what we read. That was based on what we have seen outside the country. And that is why in the last months, in fact, let me say about a year, when we had issues with PDP in the Northwest zone, we decided to come together to form what is really going to be of great use, not only to politicians who will have an opportunity to have platform to contest elections, but also for Nigerians who are sick and tired of voting either APC or PDP. And you could see very clearly, especially in the last election, in fact, the graph of number of people versus the registered voters was always falling. People are not interested in the parties. And of course, the parties are a reflection of the individuals who are contesting the elections in the political parties. And that was why we thought we should provide this opportunity for everybody in this country.
Okay.
And I'm happy. Yes.
So, Senator Kwankwa, so I listened to Buba Galadima, on television some time ago, talk about the process that led to you and your group, the National Movement. I believe he mentioned that group moving to the NNPP. But he said something. He said that you had to go through about 5 political parties to see which one to pick. Some would say that this is not about any ideal, any ideology. This would be probably about looking for a platform to advance your democratic or your political aspirations. What do you say to that?
Now, you see, that process of selection was very necessary. It was not based on who, or I mean, the personalities alone. We are also looking at the party, constitution, and so on, that is similar to what we believe in. There was no way we could leave these two parties just to go into any political parties that looks like the PDP or APC. So we want something new. And when we get this party, the New Nigeria People's Party, we were very happy with the name in the first place. Everybody wants New Nigeria. Nobody wants to continue with this rusted system that is not working for anybody except those who are in government and their cronies and people around them. And when we go to the New Nigeria People's Party, we're happy with the New Nigeria and we're happy with New Nigeria People's Party. And you see, we are not only looking for party with the majority of people. We were looking for party that has a potential of receiving people who are of like minds. And we are very careful initially in selecting those who are going to work together with us because we don't want to go from frying pan to fire by bringing faces that are no more relevant to Nigerian voters. And we are very careful and very selective because we are not in a hurry. We want to get a party that is good for the young men and women of this country, the party that will come head on to tackle all the issues, the challenges that we have today, and those that are likely to come in the future. And that's why we selected this party. Okay. And above all, I mean, in addition to that, we had the gentleman who registered the party right from the beginning, about 21 years ago. A gentleman, when he saw us, he was so happy. He believed that God has answered his prayer. And he handed over the party for us to manage on behalf of him and Nigerians generally, so that Nigeria can be a better place for everybody.
So, distinguished Senator Kwankwa, so now this is what brings to the next point. Of course, you're saying that the founder of the party handed the party over to you to manage. I mean, you've emerged as the national leader of the party. Your ally has emerged as the chairman of the party. Out of the 39 elected positions or members of the National Executive Party, a committee of the party, your group has, your loyalists have clinched the top position. So in other words, you've taken over the structure of the party. Some would argue that it will be hard for you to convince the average person, the average Nigerian out there, that this is not just a vehicle for you and your group to achieve the political aspirations. So you just went party shopping, yes, just so you can find a platform to push your political aspirations.
Yes, you see, each and every politician is in politics to succeed in winning election. Because no matter the good intention, no matter the capacity, if you don't win an election, it's as good as not having the ideology or the capacity at all. So the issue is that people need to win election. Every politician would want win election. That is common to all of us. The only difference is that when you win that election, what do you do next? We have seen people get in power for whatever reason. At the end of the day, it becomes a big liability to them in the long term and big liability to the country or to the constituency that they contested the election. So yes, every politician wants to win an election, no matter how good the intention or bad intention. So the difference is when we win the election, we have good intention, we have the capacity, and even the formation of the party itself shows clearly that this group, this party, consists of people of very high integrity, people with a lot of capacity, people who have the capacity to register members in millions, to do their local government, state, zonal, and Congress within a span of just 1 month. We have done that. We have done that very successfully. Today, you go around the country, there is no single word that we don't have the leadership on the ground. And in addition to that, we have people who are now vying for all these positions. Of course, we are so happy with that. And as you rightly pointed out, we want win an election because it is only one win an election that we can prove to Nigerians that we are the very people who have worked in various places and succeeded. Like myself, who has been Deputy Speaker of the House of Reps, we performed creditably well. I was an elected delegate to the Constitutional Conference in 1994-95, and I was governor twice in Kano, and Minister of Defense, and so on and so forth. So you see, I was in all those places proving myself because either I won election or somebody appointed me to be there. And that is the sort of thing that is on the ground now, and that is what is convincing all Nigerians, not minding the region or the zone or the religion or the ethnicity, to support the NNPP as a political party. And I can assure you, people will say we are third force. Just give us time. We will continue to work in the next 3 months or so. Maybe when we have an opportunity, I will ask you to assess whether we are still number 3. I believe that many things will happen in this year from now to 2013.
Okay, 23. You mean, Senator Kwankwa? So what's the? So we can call this the new Nigeria People's Party. What's the vision and the ideology of this party now that you and your team have taken over the structure of this party? You've emerged as a national leader. What's the ideology of this party? What is it selling to Nigerians? What vision is it selling to Nigerians?
Now, first of all, I'm happy to say that the party is very much concerned about the security in this country. Security is key. In fact, in the past, we were taking security for granted because we believe that every responsible government, not only in Nigeria, but across the country, will ensure the security of lives and properties. Unfortunately, we find ourselves in this country that the government in power cannot really say that they have done that. We have seen what happened just recently from here to Kaduna, where the train was attacked. So many people were killed. Some were being injured. Many people were being taken into the bush. As we are speaking now, they are there with the bandits. Only God knows what is happening to them. We have seen young men and women, especially the young doctor that we have seen being killed, and we have seen the dead body and so on. It's very unfortunate. And we are not after the statistics of who was killed, who was not killed. What we are interested in is for the government to go and fish out those bandits and terrorists that are killing innocent Nigerians. People who know nothing about what is happening, people who have worked all their lives, and people who are young, who are preparing or planning to have good life, to have children and so on, just to have their lives being truncated on the road. So what we want here and see is that government is pursuing those terrorists, and they must be apprehended, and they must be, we must ensure that they are being taken to the court of law in Nigeria and be punished accordingly.
Okay, all right. And apart from security situation in the country, Nigerians are also concerned about the economy. It's been an issue, especially this year with rising prices, increasing inflation, of course, the fuel crisis, the situation with Nigeria's oil and gas industry. What is the vision of the new Nigeria People's Party for the Nigerian economy?
Yes, I just mentioned the issue of security, which were taken for granted in the past. These were the issues, and they are still the issues. In addition to security, the economy is key. We have the issue of education. Education is key to us. We have looked around and see what other leaders did in this country and outside the country, especially in education. We have gone through what Chief Obafemi Awolowo has done in the Southwest. We have improved that. We have done so much in Kano, where we sponsored thousands and thousands of students all over the world. We sent them to 14 countries across the world. They all came back with masters and PhDs. They are working now across the country. We built hundreds of secondary schools. In fact, during our time in Kano, each and every child of school age had an opportunity to go to school. And anybody who finished his secondary school successfully, primary school successfully, had an opportunity to go to secondary school because we built hundreds of them in Kano State. And anybody who had qualification to go to university in Kano had that opportunity. In my second year of second term, we were looking for people to go to universities. We mopped up everybody, either they were abroad or in this country. In our state, we established 2 universities, one in 2001, that's Kano University of Science and Technology, and second one, Northwest University in 2012. And we established many other institutes. In fact, we established 26 institutes in Kano within a span of 4 years. And even those who came back, we tagged them in 500 batches, 500 number batch. We have 501. They left in 2012. 502, 503, 503. And we're at 506 when I left the government in 2015. So you can see that education is key, because without education...
Yes, well, Senator, sorry to interrupt you, Senator, but you've talked about security, you've talked about education, but we have, pressing economic issues in the country today. The price
I'm coming to that.
Yeah.
Yes. After security, we mentioned education, and of course the issue of economy. And this issue of economy has to do with a lot of things, including the security, including the education, it's good quality education itself, and so on and so forth. That's what I was heading to. So economy, including, of course, what the job creation, and so on and so forth, the value of Naira. Look, I have been to craft school, technical school, polytechnics in this country and in Europe. I have been to the universities in Europe and, of course, in Asia. I have gone through all these things. I believe that over the years that we don't have to go into all these importations that we are making. Almost everything is being imported. We have to stop that. We have to provide electricity, reliable, affordable electricity, other infrastructure like road, like rail line, and improve our airports or air transport, and so on and so forth. And these are the things that we can afford. Look, in Kano, in 4 or 8 years, we have worked so hard. There is enough resources in this country. In 1999, I met piles of debt in Kano. In 4 years, I was able to settle the debt and worked as a governor using only our internal revenue and, of course, whatever we got from the federal government. So also in 2011 and 2015, I met huge debt, hundreds of billions of dollars. I settled them. I used our own money. And when I was leaving Kano, I left Kano with zero debt, either local or international. So the money is there. The only thing is government at federal level, state level, must keep their eyes on wastages. Once you allow wastages in government, no matter how much money you get, they'll only go into the trades. And you start going out to China, Asia, many other places, Europe, borrowing money, throwing it to the state assembly or national assembly, and at the end of the day, you have nothing to show, and there is no money, and you are leaving that to our children and grandchildren.
Okay.
And that is what NNPP will ensure that is addressed.
All right. Senator, you talked about the importance of security, addressing the security situation in the country. And you said the NNPP has a very grand plan or vision for a secure Nigeria. But you were Minister of Defense in the Fourth Republic from 2003 to 2007. Some would argue that we had issues of insecurity in the country, and that if you could not surmount those challenges at that time, how can you lead a party, to come solve the security situation in the country? For instance, Boko Haram started in 2002. You were minister in 2003 to 2007. Were you able to nip that in the bud before you left? And other examples I can give, but let's leave it at that for now. So what do you have to say to that?
You see, there are security issues in Nigeria right from its inception. There are security issues all over the world. But you see, during our time, and of course before this time, there was no way anybody could stand on the way of the security, especially in Nigeria at that particular time. I am sure that during our time, and even when I was Kano as governor, no bandit, no terrorist will go and show his or her face and get away with it. And that's what we are talking about. Now, yes, Boko Haram, in fact, even Maitasine during the Shagari days, we had many cases of insecurity in this country. But it's just a matter of time it would be crushed. But what we are seeing now is that unfortunate situation where people are coming out to dare the government itself with the Nigerian military and Nigerian security agencies with no apology. And I think that has to be stopped. Now, for example, everybody is afraid to go to Kaduna, either by rail, which is not available today because of the attack, or by road, which is the worst, even a day after, and so on. They kept on coming out to pick people on the road, or even at this airport.
Okay.
They went to the airport and tapped the airport. So these are the issues we are talking about.
Okay,
see,
distinguished Senator, before we go, because we're out of time, I just have two very quick questions for you. Number one, what are the prospects? How far can the NNPP go in the 2023 elections? Are you targeting probably maybe state governorship, or you think you can go all the way in the national elections up to the presidency?
Now, you see, in 1 month, NNPP was able to put all the structures from wards to the national level across the country. We have people, I believe, contesting in all the constituencies in this country. And I believe in the next 3 months, people will really come to understand the strength of what we have started.
Okay.
People in this country are sick and tired of these two parties. People were waiting, people were looking forward.
So you're saying your party will go all the way, even up to the national elections? You see NNPP making a big impact there?
You see, in 2023, by the grace of God, there will be no position starting from State Assembly, House of Reps, Senate, and of course, Governor, and even the President. They will all be filled because the people...
Senator, we have to leave it at that, I'm afraid. We definitely would love to have you back to talk some more about the fortunes of the NNPP, and we're grateful for your time, Distinguished Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso.
Thank you very much.
All right. You're welcome. And that's it on Plus Politics. You just spoke to the former governor of Kano State and former Minister of Defense, Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. So my name is Kofi Bartels. Thanks for watching.
Are you looking for a place where your voice and opinions can be heard, where your voice matters? Open Square is that place where legislators and constituents meet to forge a path forward. In the first edition, we took you to Southwest Ibadan, Oyo State. The second edition was in Gombe for the Northeast. Now we take you to Enugu in the Southeast. Open Square is a Dara Media production supported by PlusTvAfrica, showing on Saturday, April the 2nd from 10 a.m. on PlusTvAfrica and Radio Now 95.3 FM, both on terrestrial and online on www.thisisradionow.com.
In raising our kids, parents should stop playing God.
The internet is actually using the people.
But when you are looking for money to help other people, then it becomes easy.
Don't rush into marriage. I always say this. You rush in, you rush out.
Family is the bedrock of every society and the essence of life.
On Today with John and Helen, we dig deep into family values in every sense of the word.
Join us every Saturday at 9:15 a.m. on PlusTvAfrica, DSTV channel 408.
With you, we play a part in strengthening the values passed from generation to generation.